and welcome to the Onside Kick. Ricky Widmer here along with Dave Oster.
Hey, guys.
And Mark Weber.
How's it going?
And I want to point out, it has been 2 weeks, but Dave is finally here.
I can't help that I need to sleep. It's necessary. I'm sorry,
No,
guys.
Dave, we get it. You have this thing called a job.
Which you kind of lack.
I do kind of lack.
You bum.
This is my job, the podcast.
He's dedicated to all of you listeners out there.
But today we're going to be talking about a little Bears, Redskins, previewing the Bulls season before we preview the NBA next week. Talk some football, and then Dave wants to throw some fantasy here at the end, but guys, getting right into it. Bears, Redskins. Bears looking pretty good in the Mark Trestman era, 4-2. Redskins looking pretty bad at 1-4.
Well, you can't count the Redskins at 1-4. I mean, it is the record, but they don't deserve that record because
RG3 really wants to be a pocket passer? Really?
He can't.
He can't.
I'm sorry.
Exactly.
The thing that made him special was his mobility. And if you're going to keep him in the pocket, he absolutely doesn't have the utilities for it. He doesn't have the arm strength for it. He doesn't have the precision. He doesn't have the timing. He doesn't have the ability to read down the field.
I will say, last week when they played the Cowboys on Sunday Night Football, that last fumble that he had when the linebacker, the third-string linebacker for the Cowboys came and just knocked it out of his hand, I saw that leg and I was like, that looks pretty familiar to what happened last year, but this time he didn't break his leg.
Yeah, I don't know. The thing with RG3 is he's a playmaker. Without his legs under him, he's not the same quarterback, and it's just a really, really sad story that, you know, I don't know if it's him not trusting it or if it's Shanahan limiting his playability.
I want to say a fun fact here. RG3 has 6 touchdowns. Jay Cutler has 12. Literally doubling the touchdowns. And I think that kind of speaks volumes to what we're saying right now.
Who's Jay Cutler's head coach?
Mark Trestman.
Yeah, a guy who knows how to work with quarterbacks.
Although this has been a little bit more balanced. And Shanahan's no joke of a coach.
Nope.
He knows what he's doing out there. I mean, I think this just speaks to what it is. We got a pocket. Well, I mean, Jay Cutler's a mobile-ish quarterback, but he still can sit in the pocket and pass the ball. RG3's not going to do that.
Does maturity, though, play in a little? And I know some people might be like, Ricky, did you just use the word mature?
Ricky, you're going to do this again? You're
to explain Jay Cutler. But, I mean, if you're looking at it, I think as a quarterback, Jay Cutler way more mature than RG3.
Well, that's for sure. RG3 is still pretty close to a rookie status.
He's a baby.
He's a baby.
So when you have this young baby quarterback, he's in his sophomore year, and we were talking before about who's going to have the sophomore slump.
It's going to be RG3 now.
And it looks like it's RG3. Unless things really get turned around, this team, which was so hot last year, they're just not getting it done now. And it's kind of, part of it is the one thing you were doing so well, you're not doing it anymore.
Well, and I mean, I'm thinking back to a specific play during the Sunday night game against Dallas where RG3, we're used to him using his legs, and his wide receivers are too. There was a play where he had a wide receiver slanting over the middle of the field on a deep post, was expecting him to cut back to the corner of the end zone. Like a pocket passer, just floats it to the end zone. Wide receiver just stops because he wasn't going to do that. And then you have Skandrick following the route, intercepted, corner of the end zone turnover.
Yeah, and that's the thing. He's just not on the same page with all his wide receivers yet. I think the biggest problem, though, is because he can't or won't run right now, he's just not willing to, the threat of the option has really gone down. Teams don't have to keep 8 in the box for the just in case.
Mm-hmm.
They're now playing a little bit looser, and it's really punishing the Redskins' offensive production. Although they are still, their stats have gone up in the last couple weeks.
Well,
they're building towards a better offense.
And another thing I can't stop thinking about, talking about how he won't run, I can't help but think about Derrick Rose a little bit. We're going to talk about this later, but every time I turn on sports radio here in Chicago, it's Derrick's got to play. Like, will he play where he's overcompensating and thinking about that knee? I think RG3 is. Yeah, he says he doesn't want to run because he doesn't like the read option. No, he doesn't want to run because he doesn't want to re-injure himself because he's scared.
Yeah, he wants to win games, and if the read option's going to win games like it did last season, he's going to use it. The issue that he has right now is essentially he doesn't want to get hurt again. He knows that I got hurt, I couldn't play. I couldn't win that game because I got hurt out there, and that's kind of in his head. And it's similar to a mobile quarterback who didn't come his rookie year and just destroy everybody. EJ Manuel, because he's not, when they are doing read option, he never keeps the ball himself. And when you have this, it's not working in Buffalo. When you have something similar in Washington, it's not working for them either. They're not winning games if your mobile quarterback can't keep the ball.
Look at Philly.
Okay. Yeah, you've got a lot of good examples of quarterbacks who don't have the best ability as far as being pure pocket passers, but their teams win because of it. Kaepernick is probably the best example, but you also
He's
have
got a run game.
Russell Wilson and Cam Newton.
Got a run game.
All essentially same style quarterbacks, about the same ability as far as everything goes. Cam's a little bit more built up.
The only thing I will say about that is for Colin Kaepernick, I think he can get away with not running the read option like he used to because he's got Frank Gore behind him.
Yes and no, but I'm saying they all should have the same play style.
Yeah.
It's always, you can throw the ball, but it's your mobility that will make plays for you and your ability to extend the play.
Look at when Cam Newton even came out. That was his big thing.
And that's what I think that's the thing is RG3, much like Big Ben, who's lost a lot of mobility, and they've really strapped him, try to keep him in the pocket because of A, offensive line just sucks, or B, his age, he just isn't as mobile. He's more tank-like. His mobility goes down, his production goes down, the team's offense suffers.
And we're floating out the word mobility, and I think you think two things when there's mobility. There's the mobile quarterbacks that are, I would say, going to do everything with their legs. Kind of like what RG3 was last year, where if he couldn't get a pass, he's going to run, get some yards. Kind of like Cam Newton in a way, too. But there's also the mobile quarterbacks, and I think more of Big Ben, a little bit of Russell Wilson, where it's, oh, shit, the play's collapsing. I'm going to run around the backfield a little bit to extend the play for my wide receivers to get open.
Yeah, they're a little bit more reluctant to run with it, but I don't know. I'm almost on the same track with you because there's still like the semi-mobile guys, like where Cutler is. Cutler and Romo are both like semi-mobile guys.
Those are just bootlegs. They're not going to rush for yardage.
Cutler rushes for yardage? Are you kidding
only
me?
if he has to. He's going to be looking downfield for the receiver.
He's gotten much better at looking downfield after he took that pop down the field last year.
Whereas a player like Michael Vick is, fuck it, no one's open, I'm running.
I think what the difference here is, and we see it with Jay Cutler and with RG3. RG3, I think, wants to be in the category of Tony Romo, of Jay Cutler. He wants to be one of those guys that extends plays. He doesn't want to run. And he is trying to do that right now, and maybe he'll be able to do it in a couple seasons, maybe even next season, but right now it's not working out, and that's why it's one of the reasons why the Washington Redskins are not a very good team this year.
Quick question that just came into my head. Do the Rams look smart for trading that pick now with how bad RG3 is doing this year?
If RG3 didn't get hurt in that playoff game, he would still be the RG3 of last season. It's that injury that's in his head.
But I'm saying with the slump, with how bad the Redskins are doing, do the Rams look a little smart?
Who knows if he gets injured?
Yeah, without that injury,
no, I know. But
he would not be in a sophomore
now that
slump.
we know.
Without that
we don't know if he would have got
been
injured
hurt.
on the Rams. That's their point.
True.
So I think it still would have been a great move to keep RG3 because screw Sam Bradford.
But looking in, before we make our pick with the Bears, getting back to the Bears, before we make our picks, I'm going to ask you guys, the Bear fans.
Yep.
Key to victory. One key from each. Key to victory for the Bears to win this game.
Defensive pressure. We have, I think we're ranked 30th in the NFL in sacks right now. Like, it's terrible. I know it's injuries. I completely
DJ
understand.
Williams is gone.
Yeah, well, whatever. I don't care. We got Bostic. But no, the big thing is that...
Who should have been playing the whole time?
I know we went over this. Everybody should know this. Every Chicagoan knows this after that preseason that Bostic should have started. But whatever. DJ Williams did a solid job. No, I'm not taking away any credit there. But our defensive line needs to apply better pressure. And I don't know if it's going to happen. I think if we do, that's going to be our key to success. We get that pressure, RG3 makes mistakes.
Do you think Trustman defensively is going to keep a spy for RG3's run, or just say, hey, you want to be a pocket passer? Beat us with your pocket passing skills.
I'd say he forced him to beat him with the passing skills because he doesn't have much. I think you got Jennings and Tillman, both extremely smart ball hawk corners.
And you got Bostic out there who is such a athletic linebacker. He can be that spy all day, and RG3 is not going to go anywhere. I think you just let John Bostic sit there and watch.
That's a good point.
I think one of our big keys for this one, we can't keep having people get injured. It sounds stupid, but for once in a game...
A very simple key.
Walk away without having anyone get hurt, because eventually we're going to run out of players.
Especially defensively.
Yeah, and our defense is looking weak right now with all these injuries.
Well, the one thing I keep thinking of, and I'm going to ask this to Mark because you made this kind of prediction last week. You said last week against the Giants, I'm not going to be happy unless there's 3 interceptions. How many interceptions will make you happy this week?
I'm going to go for 2 on this one.
And that's interceptions that RG3 is going to throw, not Jay Cutler.
RG3 throws 2 interceptions, I'm very happy. Jay Cutler throws 2, I'm very upset. But I think our defense, that's the one thing that our defense can do right now, is get turnovers. And that's what we got to do if we want this defense to be competing with teams.
Yeah, we really live and die by the turnover, and it's been like a Bears philosophy for like the past decade almost. And I really do love the fact that Cutler recovered so well this past week. It felt like he kind of got back to himself. He's getting more comfortable with this offense. And I think the unsung hero is Forte. Steady Eddie, man. This guy just keeps churning. I mean, whether it's the run, whether it's the swing pass.
I think Forte would be, him alone is my key for this week because, and I'm going to talk about this later when we talk about Colts and Broncos. How do you set up a good pass play? You set up a good run attack. And Forte needs to be that and the swing back as well.
Yeah,
that's what he needs. But, guys, predictions. Bears need a win this week because then they go into their bye and then they got a Monday night primetime game against the Packers in Lambeau coming out of it. I say Bears win this one.
I like the Bears in this one. I only have a little bit of fear because they could be thinking about the bye already.
I don't think.
That's my only worry.
You think that Trustman's going to have them?
There's some issues with player effort going into those weeks in the recent
Plus, when
history.
the team you're playing is 1-4 and struggling,
you can't count records for anything.
Yeah, but I mean, just because of that, I can see some players
scraped by the Minnesota Vikings.
I can see them
scraped by the Giants after picking off so many passes.
We got to think about the whole injury-prone team right now as well. When we're having so many issues on defense, especially, there's a lot of guys saying, "Whew, that week off sure does look nice."
Yeah.
So avoid that at all costs. But the Bears should be able to get this one over the Redskins.
Well, guys, now to move from the football field to the basketball court, previewing the Chicago Bulls. Their season starts in about a little over a week when they will face the defending champion Miami Heat. And I think going into this preseason, everyone's mind is on, thank God Derek is back.
Yeah, it was a long wait, but let's hope it's well worth it.
Not only do we have to play the Heat at the beginning, but then we get to go play the Knicks, which is going to be hard as well.
The Knickerbockers?
The Knickerbockers are going to be a little challenging. I think it's interesting, too, because right now we've won all our games in the preseason. And we've done a damn good job of winning these games in the preseason. And
without Noah,
which is important because that might be a recurring injury throughout the season. Especially any groin injury is going to have the possibility to keep coming at you. So Joakim, we can expect him to have some issues throughout the season, I would think. But going off where we're winning all these games in the preseason and then having the possibility to lose back-to-back games to start the season, I don't like the way that's going to mess with our morale.
I don't know. I feel like this is what I'm thinking coming out against the Miami Heat. Same type of game where we ended the streak. Derek's back. Bulls make a statement. Bulls win.
And if there's ever a chance to catch a team off guard, it's coming off that high off winning a championship. Remember the Mavs? How bad they were? I mean, the Mavs, holy crap.
Well, the Mavs are still terrible.
Yeah,
but I mean,
they literally came off a championship and then just looked like a fucking terrible team.
And unfortunately, that was on Christmas. That ruined my Christmas. But anyways.
Okay, Christmas opening day, was that not the best opening day?
Yeah, I want that.
That was the game we played the Lakers, right? With the Derrick Rose last second layup.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Having, like, last season when it was on Halloween, that was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty nice to go, and no offense, but or not to make you guys jealous, but I did go to the United Center on Halloween for that.
Oh, nice.
I'm a little jealous.
But anyways, no, I mean, I want it back on Christmas because it's just such a huge celebration.
Well, plus, and it's like it gives you, and you mentioned this off the air, where you said, I wish we had a little bit more time where it was just football, where there were no sports but just football.
Yeah, football needs more alone time.
Yeah, it is. There's some crowding. There's too much overlap of sports talk.
But seriously, I want to say, with the beginning of our season, I think it's just a huge disappointment if we go out game one, and we're going to Miami, thankfully. Because
You don't want Miami coming here?
I don't want to lose to Miami in the first game that Derrick Rose plays regular season game at the United Center.
I think the Bulls, I feel like everybody is, and we talked about with the RG3 knee injury thing, I think everyone's overreacting on Derrick Rose because he took a whole year off, because he didn't Adrian Peterson it, as I can say. I feel like Derrick Rose is going to come out and be Derrick Rose.
No, I don't doubt that. But, I mean, even if Derrick Rose does fantastic and the Bulls lose to the Heat, it looks bad.
Okay, so you really are giving us, no shot against the Heat right now?
I'm not giving us no shot, but I think there's a good chance we lose at Miami.
I don't know. From what I've seen in the preseason, the guy who's been stepping up for me most is Taj. And Taj is definitely one of the keys against the Heat because he's such a good defensive presence and he can go down and crash boards. And that's something that always is a weakness to the Heat. Although they did pick up our man, the glass knees, Greg Oden.
Your man.
My man.
Not
okay,
our man.
I
Your
like
man.
him. I like the idea.
Your man in NBA 2K13.
It was rigged. Yeah, every year he'd go up 5 points. It was like by the third year, he was the best center in the league. Made no sense.
And another thing, because, Mark, you brought up the Heat, I'm going to bring this up. I feel like there's too much going on with LeBron James right now. The two biggest things I hear about him is, one, he's mad at his players saying that Kobe and Jordan are more clutch than him.
True story.
He's telling Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce that they owe Ray Allen an apology when they were bitching that he left Boston for a ring. And I feel like coming in game one, I screwed up. It's Tuesday, not Monday. So the 29th is when we're going to Miami. I feel like LeBron's not going to be the LeBron that we saw in the NBA Finals, and Derrick Rose is going to be Derrick Rose.
You skip Baylessness? Is he LeBum?
No, not that bad. But, I mean, he's not going to be what we saw in the Finals. But Derrick Rose is going to be Derrick Rose because all he's been doing is preparing for this moment. The return, as we're calling it.
And I really do hope that he goes out there, plays lights out, and the Bulls can get a win. I think that's important. Early on, I think we need to be good early on so the team has good morale, so the fans are happy. Because if the fans aren't happy, the team's going to feel that. They're going to be able to feel that energy in the United Center.
And the one thing I like this whole preseason, the Derrick Rose-Jimmy Butler combo, that's looking like it's just fluid this whole preseason, right from the word go.
Yeah, I've been really happy with the results that's been putting out. I think the best thing is this is a Bulls team who won a ton of regular season games last year.
With the bench mob.
Even with just stars out left and right. Mm-hmm. So I'm not really worried about this season, the regular season. We're going to get to the playoffs no matter what. And we're guaranteed one of the top 4 spots in the East.
I was going to say, do you think we're a top 4 team?
Absolutely.
Okay. Especially
with Melo coming out and saying, yeah, I'm going to go test free agency. Already, how bad does that hurt the Knicks' morale off the bat?
Well, Woodson, their coach, came out and said, yeah, I wish Melo would focus more on basketball than free agency.
Yeah, he's just got his mind in the wrong place. That's why I'm like, all right. So we've got, I think right now, the Heat Bulls game, I'm straight toss-up. That's a 50-50 game. You don't know how the Heat are going to come off the championship. You don't know how Rose is going to come off.
Though. You got to go with the
I like the
Bulls.
Okay, I'll go 52 Bulls. But then game 2, the Knicks distracted Melo. And I'm sorry, this is a Knicks team who's gone through a lot of changes in personnel. Better or worse, we'll find out. But I don't think like you said, I don't think Melo's got his head in the right place.
Quick question.
Yep.
With Derrick Rose coming back, do we win the division this year over Indiana?
We'll find out next week when we discuss the NBA season.
Oh, you're going to leave it as a little cliffhanger?
Just a little bit.
You're not going to say whether or not the Bulls are going to win the division?
I'm going to give you a tease.
Okay, a little bit of a tease, but I feel like we talked about keys to the game for the Bears. Keys to the season for the Bulls is the bench mob. The past few years, it's been Derrick Rose and the bench mob. Well, we lose Nate Robinson. He's no longer a bench mob. We still have Heinrich, but how much is Tony Snell and Eric Murphy going to play, our rookies? How much is Teague actually going to play because he's no longer a rookie?
Teague.
What is our bench going to do to help out the starters? Boozer, Dang, Noah when he comes back, Rose, and Butler.
Taj is the key to the bench mob. That's for damn sure. The big thing here is to see some Teague support off the bench because we all know Kirk is our defensive stopper.
Yep.
As far as the bench goes.
Our bear hugger.
No, that was a genius move. That's smart defense, and no one. I'm not gonna take crap from anybody on that. Smart defensive move.
Kyle Korver would have dove out of the way.
Kyle Korver would have been the other half of the court, staying in the corner, and be like, "I'm open, guys." No, I'm really looking for Teague to take some pressure off of Rose because similar style, just a whole lot less accurate, maybe worse ball vision. But I think the thing is these rookies. We saw Snell struggle a lot already in this preseason. Granted, he's picked up a little, but consistency for a rookie is the best thing you can hope for.
Do you think Snell actually plays out? Because we know Coach Thibs, he doesn't like to play rookies.
Yeah,
and I feel like with Snell, we need him to play because we made a video, and me and Mark mentioned this last week when we drafted Snell, how everyone's like, oh, we got him for the three-point shooting. This kid's going to be great. He hasn't been shooting the three all that well, and neither has Mike Dunleavy. Why did we sign Mike Dunleavy? To shoot the three.
I think this is one I wanted to say. For one of our big points, we saw a shift where we want a lot of perimeter shooting. We want Derrick Rose to be able to just have the area cleared and go right to it.
Yep.
Is it going to work? Because in the preseason, it's not working that way. It's not working out how we're hoping it's going to work out.
To play devil's advocate to the point I just made, it is preseason, so guys are just getting back into their rhythm. But, I mean, this has to be something where if the three-pointers aren't working, Derrick Rose might have to take games into his own hands.
Which he can do.
Or we feed the beast Nazi in the middle.
Nazi?
And
we'll just ride Nazi to victory.
No.
Or do you feed it to Boozer with his fadeaway J?
Oh, my God.
Brick.
I honestly, though, expect Nazi to have to play a lot this season, only because to start off with a groin injury.
How many pushes on LeBron are we going to see in Game 1 from Nazi?
That's something that I did not remember.
Under 2.
Over and under like 1 million on how many times LeBron complains to the ref for a foul.
Yeah, he's a crier.
Every single time? I think every single time.
Yeah, I going back to what Dave said, though, about the Bulls in the playoffs, I think making the playoffs were pretty much of a lock. How far up can we get? That's the question. I would put us right now at least 4. Can we get to 2? That's my goal. Can we get to 2?
Next week.
But, guys, going right into to kind of round out the show, a little bit more football. First, we'll do our picks. Then Dave wants to do some fantasy football for you guys. First game on the slate. Buccaneers, winless. The Falcons coming off a bye 1-4. They lose to the Jets? Really?
You got to hope the Falcons pull their shit together. I mean, this is a talented team. Understand, Jones is injured now.
No Julio Jones. Roddy White might not be... Well, he might play, but he might not be the Roddy White of old. How many throws to Tony Gonzalez do we see?
You got to think Matty Ice is going to rely on his tight ends in this game. I think the biggest disappointment is definitely that rushing game, that Steven Jackson injury.
Snelling and Jaquiz aren't doing bad, though.
They're not doing bad.
That was the bright spot in that Monday night loss.
But still, it's the fact that you go out there and you try to get yourself the reliable running back.
Yeah, and he gets injured.
Guys, I hate to break it to you, but they're playing the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers are not a good team. They're a mess. They don't have a quarterback.
Bullshit,
They
Mike
don't have
Glennon.
a head coach. It doesn't make any sense right now.
You know what I do and I'm picking the Bucs to win?
Yeah.
Put Darrell on Gonzo.
He's so small. There's no way that matches up right.
Doesn't matter. Ryan's going to throw it. INT all day.
No, you can't do that.
He's going to get burned. He'll get burned at least 3 times.
You're going to say Revis is going to get burned by a tight end?
If he's exclusively
tight end that's so old he should have retired already.
Because he can't
the
match
only
up
way
with him.
Revis can pull an interception from Gonzo is by undercutting his route by a good 5 feet. So if he goes for that all day, then he will get burned because you can just throw it 4 feet above his head and Gonzo catches it.
I don't know. I feel like for me, Bucs defense, they know what the Falcons are going to do because of injuries to both Jones and White.
It limits them, certainly. But
the Falcons, Matty Ice is going to have nothing to go to.
The only thing the Tampa Bay has going for it is that defense and then muscle hamster.
He's muscle hamster. There needs to be a resurgence of the muscle. 1 touchdown this year.
I know. It's pathetic.
1 TD. Plus, Josh Freeman is still your passing leader.
The issue here is that Schiano doesn't know what's happening right now. He was so focused on that Josh Freeman.
He's got to get out of town.
I don't like that guy. It's like when your high school ex-girlfriend was upset because you dumped her and she complained about you to the fucking entire school.
Yeah.
For the next 3 years, she still stalks you on Facebook.
Exactly. She's still there and occasionally likes your photos.
But
Who does that?
But am I the only one picking the Bucks on this
Yes, you are.
Absolutely are. You're crazy.
one? But Bengals, Lions. Mark, you're going with the Bengals?
I am going to go with the Bengals on this one, and here is why. The Bengals need to come back. They were the team that in the AFC, everyone was saying number 1 or number 2.
The North? They
No,
were going to
the
win the
AFC.
North. To win,
In
like,
the AFC, everyone said this is either team number 1 or team number 2.
They were the most hyped team of the preseason.
Not
for
a
having the
chance,
deepest
not a
talent
Nothing is
chance.
roster.
happening. Nothing is happening
Because
for them
Dalton's
right
a
now.
C quarterback
And
with
they-
no vision down the field.
They really need to just... Well, I think that's one of the things. They've done the best job at masking Dalton's
Weakness.
problems.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
Ben
now
Jarvis,
they're
Green
kind of out.
Ellis, and Giovanni Bernard haven't done terrible.
No, are you kidding me?
They're
They're doing
doing all right.
fantastic compared
but
to
I
what they
think
got to work with.
I think what
Hey.
hurts Dalton too is he only has one real weapon. I know Sanu
He stepped
and
it
the
up.
other guys are good, but where's Gresham this year? Where's Tyler Eifert? What we've been talking about in the preseason before the season even started.
It leads back to the fact that your quarterback can't read through progressions. If you can't read through progressions, how are you going to get to that number 3 target? You're not. He's looking for A.J. Green, Sanu, back to A.J. Green.
Well, and it's funny how he's going to play I saw an interesting photo this week of Ndamukong Suh where someone put the Bane mask on him and basically called him the villain of the NFL. You got to play him and Nick Fairley.
I wonder if he's going to get another fine next week.
Yeah,
Because he's been getting
Didn't he
fined
get
week
one this
after
past
week.
he
week?
did. And
Yeah, I
that
think it
one
was
was kind of garbage.
$35K,
That was kind of garbage. He hit him on the chest, and the neck just kind of flipped
How
back.
far
the head.
until we just say you're done?
This one was
Like
full on
I'm
the
not
refs,
saying
though.
I'm not saying like done forever. I'm saying like just sit down for a couple games because you're suspended.
Yeah, he should end up. The next one should be a 1-game suspension if it's a legit hit. Mm-hmm. I think this last one was garbage, and it's just the refs don't like Sue.
But
I
I
think
mean-
if there's any team that Andy Dalton can go out there and actually look pretty good against, it's going to be the secondary of the
Well,
Lions.
it's interesting you say that because I mean, I can't remember. It was either when the Lions played the Vikings or the Bears. The secondary looked like it's like, wait a second. You said this was supposed to be a Swiss cheese. This isn't Swiss cheese.
It's just shitty quarterbacking, to be honest with you. They're not a great secondary, but
But they'll capitalize off your mistakes.
yeah, come on. I think this is a really talented Lions team who I kind of undervalue. No, I didn't. I hyped them in the preseason, didn't I?
undervalue.
You guys did. That's
have
right.
3 more-
That's right. You guys
they
said the
have 3
Vikings.
more wins
You said the
than-
Vikings were going to come in second place in this division.
well, Josh Freeman
That worked out great.
and save the day.
To be honest,
and you
though,
thought the Vikings would get, what, 2 wins?
to be honest though,
for
if
the
you were a
Vikings,
Vikings
I had
fan,
them like in the middle.
All right.
if you were
I
a
just want to
Vikings
make sure
fan
I
coming
threw
into
that
the
down.
season, would you want to ride high on your team just because
No.
you're a fan of them?
No, but I want to throw that in your face as well. I can, because who knows what's going to happen the rest of the season.
Yeah,
Vikings
who knows? I got the
suck.
Lions though in this one.
Yeah, I got the Lions. And the big thing that'll make interesting, Bengals do play better away from home. So you got to think it's going to be a close game, but I think Dalton's going to cost his team again.
Well, now we go from an AFC NFC matchup to an AFC East matchup. 2-4 Bills going to Miami to play the Dolphins, coming off of a bye.
They're still starting Toole. They're still starting him. They're not starting E.J. Manuel. It doesn't really matter who you start at this point because there's no one good left.
Hey,
How
last
sup-
week was a pretty impressive performance.
And let's also say that Josh Freeman decided, you know what, Buffalo? No thank you. I'll go to the Minnesota Vikings instead.
Well, yeah, because I mean, it's
Yeah,
kind,
exactly.
it's kind of hard to pass on a guy called Greg Jennings.
No, I think it's kind of hard to
Jennings at
pass
the
on
end
the
of his
fact
career.
that
So it's still a good wide receiver. So if let's
It
say
doesn't do
Tom
anything for you
let's
in
say
2
Tom
years.
Brady went down when he had Randy Moss. If you were a quarterback that needed a job and they were going to sign you, would you say, "Nah, I'm not going to go with Randy Moss because he's at the end of his career"?
I think for Greg Jennings, a guy who was on the Packers and fell to the very bottom of the depth chart to where he wasn't even
He
playing
needs
anymore.
a quarterback to throw to him. Freeman could be the guy. But
you guys are
but
missing the
that's
bigger
not what we're
picture
talking
here.
about.
Bigger picture here. Or are you going to go to the team that just drafted their quarterback of the future, or are you going to go to the team who has no quarterback?
And an owner that has said, "I've always wanted Josh Freeman," which
Yeah.
kind of was like, how does that feel, Ponder?
Ponder's done, so it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter, hot wife.
But anyways, to move back to the Buffalo
Also-
Bills.
Also, Ryan
Ryan Tannehill, hot wife, part of an
Lawrence
exclusive club.
Tannehill. Ooh. But
who we originally said was going to have the sophomore slump.
No, I think we agree that there would be no sophomore slump
I know I
in the
did.
Tannehill family.
I thought he'd be the sophomore slump.
And that in the Tannehill household, there's no slumps there. No slumps at all.
But I got the Dolphins winning this game.
I'm going to agree with you on that one.
If you were going to tell me, Ricky, after week 7, the Dolphins could be 4-2, this is in the preseason, I'd be like, you're smoking something.
And the bigger thing here is, well, I guess the disappointing thing is how little of an impact that big offseason acquisition was. I mean, you go out and get the number 1 wide receiver.
Brian Hartline's your leading receiver.
Brian Hartline, your boy. He brought the local back to town after he spent, a year in Minnesota?
I think so. I think he did. I can't remember.
Was that a year or two? But yeah, embarrassing, Mike Wallace.
Who do you guys got? I've got the Dolphins.
I'm taking the Dolphins as well. The Bills, without their quarterback, they don't have anything to be scared of.
CJ Spiller's good. Go to hell.
Well,
but I take the Dolphins still.
Okay, moving over to another AFC East matchup. Dave, this is how I'm going to introduce this game. Gronk, Gronk, Gronk. He's back.
Yep, that's what all you need to say.
Really, that's all we're going to say? The Gronk's back, Patriots, Jets?
Taking the Patriots.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That right there gave Tom Brady about
he has somebody
1,000% more offense.
He's 5-1
How
when he has
bad
no
do
one
you
to throw
feel
to.
if you're Kimbrel Tompkins? If you're like, well, there goes my receptions.
Well, I'm sorry. Learn to catch the ball.
He did.
So many
That's-
dropsies.
He's why they won last week's game.
No, Tom Brady is why they won last week's game.
By the way, did you guys hear the radio call for that?
Yes.
With the, where's the beef? Where's the beef?
No. These wide receivers drop the ball so damn much. I feel bad for Brady.
Well, don't worry. Gronk's back in town.
It's okay. Gronk's back, guys.
I've got the Patriots over the Jets. No contest.
I think it'll be interesting. Geno Smith can still put up points, but no, I'm with you.
Remember, the newspaper after that Monday night game, A Star is Born. The same
and will
headline
fall
they did
in 2 years.
for Mark Sanchez.
Exactly. Maybe Geno Smith gets to have a good fourth quarter. He's been looking fine in the fourth quarter, but the other 3, not so much.
Next game, Cowboys-Eagles. Michael Vick out, Nick Foles in. I kind of feel like Tony Romo can win this game even without DeMarco Murray.
It's going to be a shootout, that's for sure.
I kind of feel like Nick Foles is about to win the starting job. This game, going to do a fantastic game against a division rival.
As big of a shootout as against Denver, that's the first thing I thought of when you said shootout.
That was fantastic football. I think that's the weird thing. Very little defense, all offense. Everyone loved that game, and they're like game of the year right there. But I think the biggest thing to go on here is how well Nick Foles did last week under this offense. Remember, this is the offense that was like created. It's supposed to be perfect for Michael Vick. This is the one that's going to succeed. Nick Foles looked fantastic last week, and he even ran the ball pretty well. I know.
Yeah, but the thing I think about, and I think about this with Foles, and I think about this with Matt Barkley, both of those guys played in the Pac-12. Pac-12 kind of plays, they don't play pro style often.
What?
Especially, I'm thinking the Oregons, the Washingtons, not USC, Dave.
I'm sorry, that is pro
plays the
style.
But I feel like Nick Foles, an Arizona guy, can run the Chip Kelly offense because of how much he saw it in college.
And that's why he can win this starting job over Matt Barkley, who isn't even active. He's not even there to possibly play. They don't let him even have the possibility. I don't understand why they drafted him. You got Nick Foles out there.
Plus,
who's doing
when
a
you
good
got
job.
weapons like LaShawn McCoy and Deshaun Jackson, it's hard to suck.
They did it last year, first off.
Yeah, but they didn't have Chip Kelly.
Yeah, I know. I'm just... This
have
system with
have
him,
you
yes.
seen LaShawn McCoy with this system? It's
yeah,
done better.
I believe I'm the one who had built him up every single week we talked about this team.
It's done more for him than Michael Vick, and Michael Vick was supposed to be for this
Yeah,
system.
he's just an absolute wrecking ball right now. The thing is, how much longer... Okay, obviously, right now, Vic's injured. How much longer will LaShawn McCoy stay healthy? Who knows?
Oh, he will. I feel like he will. I hope he does. I have him in a fantasy.
His
Severely
workload
down. He
has
makes it to
gone
the
up.
end of the season.
Yeah, I'm fearing
Shut
an
your
injury.
face, Mark. He's in one of my
I love this
fantasy leagues.
offense, and I love his production. But if you look at his carries this year versus last year, even just touches, it's way up, and you got to be a little concerned about injuries. This offense, that's the biggest worry.
So I'm going with the boys, even though I have Deshaun Jackson and LaShawn McCoy.
Yeah,
in one
I
of my
love the
fantasy
Cowboys
teams.
team, don't get me wrong, but I'm picking the Eagles right now.
I'm taking the Eagles as well.
So next matchup, Rams coming off a huge win against the Texans. Panthers coming off a huge win to my Minnesota Vikings.
Not so huge, kind of expected.
I don't know. It was
The
a
Rams
surprise
was the
to
upset.
me. I kind of feel, though, that even though, Dave, I know you hate Sam Bradford,
I do.
the Panthers, to me, are so inconsistent. The Rams I feel like they can do the same thing they did last week, coming off an emotional high. They finally played well
Letdown game.
for the Panthers.
No.
I don't.
No,
I
sir.
mean, really, is either one of these teams going to be let down if they lose this game? Because
No.
they're both kind of just mediocre teams.
More so, I feel like if the Panthers lose this game, we're going to hear the Ron Rivera fire
Yeah, that's
stories.
the biggest thing. Ron Rivera is on the hot seat right now. I think he needs to make a wild card, otherwise he's out. This Rams team, though, I think they've got pieces around there, and it looked like last year they just had the answer. Like,
See, but this is speaking of the Rams coach, Jeff Fisher. I almost said Eric Fisher.
Yeah.
Jeff Fisher. He's been in talks to USC wants to pursue him for their coach.
no, I think USC's going to end up picking up the coordinator from Denver.
You think so?
I do. I think that's the best job. I think he's a perfect guy for it.
I think that's, I don't know, I mean, a little off topic, but I just think that's a dumb idea. When you have the possibility to win a Super Bowl this year, you can win a Super Bowl. You can get that coach.
I think he'll hold out. I think he'll hold out. Like he'll be like, yeah, under the table, kind of like
Yeah,
in 6 months.
but-
Yeah.
But from what I've heard, Jeff Fisher, at least name being mentioned for that job. And I mean, I feel like a win here keeps Jeff Fisher for sure in
No.
St. Louis.
I don't think Fisher's going anywhere. He loves the NFL, and he's just an absolute genius. He's one of the smartest guys in the game.
Plus, if he goes to play for USC, he's not going to be able to have snot freeze to his beard.
That is an image I will never get out of my mind. Iconic.
I'm taking the Panthers on this one because I feel like we're
Cam
yeah.
Newton.
Cam.
a little away
Newton.
from it. I think Cam Newton can get it done. Sam Bradford, I just don't believe in him. I never will.
Exactly.
I
He needs to be shipped out.
don't know. I feel like Rams got it in them, but from another matchup that can. We talk about this University of Jacksonville Jaguars team every week, and they did put up a big fight against the Broncos.
Yeah,
but
that spread was hilarious.
How bad do the Chargers beat them? The line is at 9 for the Chargers, so a little bit more back to normal.
Definitely realistic. This Jaguars team
Will they ever
showed
win a game?
lot.
Will they ever win a game?
Yes, I think they'll win a game. But you got like Blackman last week. Man, team on his back. The big thing though is this Chargers team, too much offense. They got some defense. I just think that I don't like Jacksonville enough to pick them yet.
You know what's a funny thing I just noticed?
What's
if you
up?
look at ESPN's page, look at the logo next to Jacksonville.
Looks like the old one
Yeah,
still,
it's the
doesn't
old
it?
one. But if you click on the page, it goes to the new one.
Well, nobody likes the kitty cat Jaguar. I don't know.
The new female Jaguar.
The thing about the Jaguars is they just. What is there? I mean, they got
Blackman.
Justin Blackman.
If you're a fantasy
And
owner.
Cecil Shorts, who is injured.
Cecil Shorts.
So,
Coming
I
off the
mean,
injury, we'll see.
What are they going to do? That's pretty much the thing you got to ask yourself. Any team that ever plays the University of Jacksonville Jaguars, what are they going to do to you? Nothing.
I feel like this game in Jacksonville, Phillip Rivers is going to have a huge game. Coming off of a huge win on what everyone last week, it's Andrew Luck's debut on Monday night. And Phillip Rivers said, go fuck yourself.
Now, when you build up so much hype for a guy like Andrew Luck on that one, of course he's going to stumble. Fortunately for the Chargers, they have nothing to be worried about. You build up as much hype as possible. You're not going to lose to the University of Jacksonville Jaguars. It's
And
just
if
not
you
gonna
do,
happen.
if you do,
I love how we refer to them as that.
you're welcome.
The U of J Jaguars? Is that what they'd be called?
The U and J. I believe so. That should be
Yeah,
U and J.
I like you a J.
So are we all picking the Jaguars in this game?
You know it.
I feel like time to move on then. 49ers at Titans. Can the Titans really beat
Nope.
the 49ers?
49ers team, I think it was. I mean, everybody was like, "Oh, this team beat," and then like the season happened, and everyone's like, "Oh, they're not as good." You gotta remember, there's injuries.
Over under 20 points fantasy-wise for Vernon Davis.
Under this
After
week,
his 30-point performance
I think
last
it's
week.
under because this run game is gonna get a lot of time, a lot of clock killing.
Yeah, and once you have something huge like that, you know the one thing the Titans are talking about. Do not let him get the ball, and do not let him score.
Jake Locker's still injured, right? And I'm just making that question to you
yes,
guys. He's
yes,
not
they have a
playing in
backup
this game.
quarterback.
They're going to go with Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Yeah,
and
I'm-
he's not good.
Because of that, I got to go with the 49ers.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I mean,
Because of that? Because of that,
well,
you're going to
not
go with
just
the 49ers?
that. You have Vernon Davis, huge performance, And also, they have a running game. They have Frank Gore, but they also have the Vulture. They also have Hunter.
And they have Colin Kaepernick. Don't forget, this is a team averaging about 180 yards a game
running
rushing.
as much as he did last
180
year.
yards of rushing
No,
a game.
I know.
That's absurd. And on the other hand, who's that guy who used to be CJ 2K? Like, what happened to him?
CJ No K.
What happened to him?
Yeah, he has
No
not
K.
been the same ever since he got paid.
Yeah.
But moving on to Lambeau, Brandon Weeden, his job was put up on Cleveland's Craigslist. Fans not happy. Can Aaron Rodgers, he might not have as many receivers as he did last week, but I think he can still beat the Browns.
Those are some brutal knee injuries, but I still got this Packers offense still dirty, and it's just next man up.
What was that favorite part of that game? Because you were telling me with the DB of the Ravens.
Oh, yeah. After Cobb went down with his injury, that'd be the second knee of the game blown out. Aaron Rodgers literally just goes over to him and he's like, hey, aim a little higher next time. He says it to the DB. DB gets in his face, and all you see is one of the offensive linemen from the Packers walks up, puts a hand on the guy's chest, and just pushes him backwards about 8 feet. And it's like, that gets a personal foul. Sure.
The Packers are so lucky that they're playing the Browns this week because they should lose to almost any other team because who are they going to throw to?
James Jones.
This team is just
Jordan
falling
Nelson.
apart.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, if the Packers go like 8-8 now, I'm not surprised because they don't have anybody left to play.
And I know we're going to talk about fantasy to end the podcast this week,
Nelson.
but a big guy this week for
One
fantasy.
He's my guy.
Who, Jordy?
Yep.
They got one guy to throw.
I think Eddie Lacy is going to be, because of these injuries to the wide receivers, they're going to run the ball a little bit more. There's no reason why Lacy can't have at least 15 points in this game, fantasy-wise.
It's so bizarre how the Packers went from a team who couldn't have a 100-yard rusher to, like, now every week it's different guy, 100 yards, but it seems like they're pretty comfortable with their stable of backs now.
The two rookies they picked up, in Franklin and Lacy.
I think the big deal is how they're mixing in these runs and how, like, you get, like, a couple big breakouts each game. It's never just, like, grinding out 3 yards a carry the whole game. You'll see breaks because of the amount of space that teams are giving Aaron Rodgers on that line. And he's one of those guys who comes up time. He's not quite Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, but he reads that defense because they're a quick-paced offense. They get up to that line, and they just stand there, and he's calling out everything.
So I'm assuming all of us have the Packers in this one. The Pack attack.
No way the Browns get a win.
The next game on our slate, undefeated Kansas City.
Surprise of the year.
They're going up against a Texans team that's not going to start TJ Yates. They're starting the Houston native.
Case Keenum.
Yep. The guy who came from the Houston Cougars.
Big arm.
This is the game, and Dave, I told you I was going to wait to, when you mentioned it, going to wait to talk about it. This is either going to be the best game for the Texans all season or the worst game. And I say that because right now, Keenum comes in, and everyone in Houston is saying the Messiah. They're like, the guy who played with the Houston Cougars, he's a hometown guy. If he wins, he's great. If he loses, he's a bum.
I don't have that high of a thing for him. I think it's no matter what he does, awesome. Matt Schaub's not playing, and basically it's like you can't get any worse than you are right now. You guys have blown three of these games in your last 4 have been blown wins. Like you had the win and you blew it because of your quarterback. So I don't think that they can really get any worse than they are right now. I think right now I'm interested in the streak. Can they go a game without throwing a pick 6? Curious to see, because this is a very good Chiefs defense. They're pretty staunch. I'm not expecting a lot out of this Texans team. But you're right. It could be the spark that just lights up their season. Last year, TJ Yates had a very good streak going that Texans offense was performing.
Well, the only thing I think about this game for the Texans is if you're an Arian Foster owner, you're happy. That's it.
He is getting a lot of focus.
Well, he's getting the bulk of the carries because they can't throw the ball. Because Matt Schaub can't throw the ball, but now Schaub's out.
You can throw the ball. Just somebody else will catch it.
Not to the right team.
Yeah.
This matchup makes no sense. The Texans should not be this bad. The Chiefs should not be this good.
Yeah.
Andy Reid and Alex Smith turning the team around.
It doesn't make sense. And we do need to say that the Chiefs haven't played that many great teams yet.
I can't wait for the Chiefs.
They played
Bronco
virtually
matchup.
the same teams that the Broncos have. I think 5 out of the 6 games, matching teams. So that
Dallas,
one, I really can't wait.
Jacksonville. The Broncos played the Giants.
And
so
Oakland.
that's 3 of them, right? 4 out of the 6.
4 out of 6 or 5 out of 6, one or the other. Yeah. Either way, it's majority of the same teams.
Broncos played Philly too,
and they're winning. They're winning in completely opposite ways.
And I think we're all gonna pick the Chiefs.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty easy pick in this situation.
One question I'm going to ask. I know we have a while until it gets there. Yes, we have this week, but the Chiefs have a game against the Browns and a game against the Bills before their bye, and then they play Denver.
I think that bye could be huge.
Do you think that both Denver and the Chiefs could be undefeated Week 11 for that matchup in Mile High?
Certainly. I absolutely believe there's a very good chance the Chiefs make it there. I'm not positive of Denver's next couple games, but just from looking at the Chiefs next two, yeah, they can win out. That's not a problem.
For the Broncos, they will have Indy, Washington, a bye, and then the Chargers.
I think that Chargers game could sneak up on them. They could be looking a week in the future, being like, man, we got to go up against this undefeated team. Or Indy this week even.
Yeah, it's interesting. One of these teams should not be undefeated by Week 11. It's just too many games. It really is. And I think the question is it going to be...
It's not going to be the Texans, if that's what it's going with.
They
The
are not
Texans are
undefeated.
not going to knock off the Chiefs.
Oh, okay.
Maybe the Messiah is here. I mean, it's not Tim Tebow.
We're throwing out that
Yeah, I was
word.
gonna say, where is Tim Tebow?
Yeah, I mean, if we're going to...
We took on multiple quarterbacks earlier.
Tim Tebow
we didn't
wants
even
to be-
mention
he wants to be
the
a
ultimate
quarterback.
weapon.
He wants to be a
I
quarterback.
just think...
Offensive weapon. That's his official title.
I'm going to be so surprised if we get to that game and both the Chiefs and the Broncos are both undefeated still. That's impressive.
Well, think about the Chiefs. They're using the same exact, they're using what Jim Harbaugh used last year. Same exact setup. You're going to grab an extremely smart quarterback who can make accurate short throws. You're going to have a really staunch run game and a very big and athletic defense. And that's all you need. I mean, it's conservative play. I think the big worry for the Chiefs is, wide receiver. Right now, Avery's been stepping up. But you got to wonder, they don't really have that go-to guy right now.
Yeah, they don't have Dwayne Bowe, who used to be their number one guy.
Yeah,
He's kind of fallen off.
Yeah, and I think that's the only worry is to have a go-to wide receiver. But I have confidence. Alex Smith, he's proven year after year. I shouldn't say year after year. These last 2 years, he's proven that he is absolutely a capable
Worth
quarterback.
that number one pick.
Absolutely.
So now coming up, we all picked the Chiefs in that game. Ravens head to the Steelers. Can the Steelers make it 2 in a row?
It's a toss-up game. This is a wicked cool rivalry. Wicked cool. I'm from Boston.
Wicked cool.
Wicked cool.
Wicked cool.
This is an awesome rivalry. Doesn't matter whether they're playing home or away. It's always close. And I like the Steelers. They won last week. They won ugly. And they won via the screen game. Those quick passes got the ball out of Roethlisberger's hands into the wide receiver with space, make plays. I think, honestly, this is a team who can bounce back. I think they got to look at the second half of the season and just be like, yeah, we had a bad first half, but don't worry about it.
I went with the Steelers last week, but that was because they were playing the Jets, and I do not like the Jets at all. I have a soft spot in my heart for the Ravens, even though I'm not a Ravens fan. In this game, I think I have to pick the Ravens just because that AFC North matchup, it's going to be a close game, but I feel like that defense, they knocked up the Packers a little bit last week, and I think they can do the same thing to the Steelers.
Yeah, these games are always low scoring every year, every time, and I see this not being any different. The only situation that does change is Big Ben. He's got nobody to throw to. At least Joe Flacco out there, he's got a couple guys he can throw to. That's why the Ravens are going to win this one.
Big Ben has offensive weapons. He's just... I think the problem was the play calling, to be honest with you. Early
Was
in
it
the
the
season,
games in the locker room? Was that the problem? The games in the locker
No
room?
video games, no fun.
And then they
Honestly.
win. No fun, no win.
No fun, you do win.
Oh,
have
that's what I
Ben
meant.
Roethlisberger hold on the ball for 6 seconds. How do you expect him to survive? Are you stupid? He's not a drop-back quarterback. I'm sorry. They had the wrong offense playing for them. And like I said, last week, they did it. This week, stick to the same strategy because guess what? The Ravens bring the pressure up front. Oh, look, swing passes out, quick screen
Le'Veon
passes.
Bell.
I wish they would use him more. I'm kind of curious to see how he performs. He had a very, very small yards per carry last week,
After-
only like 2.2 or something.
After coming off of a huge performance in
In
his
London,
debut.
I'd say he's just meant for European. He should
Really?
be the expansion team. We'll just start with Le'Veon Bell.
But so me and Mark are going with the Ravens. Dave's going Steelers.
Yep, you guys are wrong.
Before we go, we're going to flip-flop. Usually we talk about the Sunday night game before the Monday night game. We're going to talk about the
Both
Monday
suck.
night game first. just to get it out of the way so we can talk about Broncos-Colts.
Okay.
Vikings-Giants. The Vikings can't give the Giants their first win. They can't.
It's going to happen.
They can't.
You guys lost to the Browns.
They can't.
To the
guys lost to the
Hoyer-led Browns.
They can't.
Who at first was like an insult, but now I guess he's better
We
than
have Josh
Widmer.
Freeman now.
That's true.
You do. I'm
Big
predicting.
acquisition.
We have
I'm
Josh
thinking about a
Freeman.
0-0 tie on this one.
He's had what, like 4 days to learn the offense?
Yeah, I mean,
No,
he's gonna
he's had
remember.
2 weeks.
Well, I think it was Donovan McNabb when he had the multiple sleeve.
The double sleeve playbook?
play.
Yes.
He had the entire playbook essentially on his hands, and that's what Josh Freeman
He
has.
almost looked like a
I-
superhero.
I
Borderline superhero.
I don't think it's that hard to learn. Hand the ball to AP, throw to Greg
And
Jennings.
you would think that one of the 3 guys you had on the roster could have done that, but no.
Well, Christian Ponder, we knew that he was he was going to be a letdown.
He was an impulse buy.
Yeah, he was a very, oh shit, they took our guy. They took Locker. Bye. Matt Castle, did we really expect? We expected him to be the guy only because we didn't expect Josh Freeman to be on the market.
That's true. I think Josh Freeman, like I told you guys a couple weeks ago, last time I was here, Freeman, athletically, he's there. It's all in his mind. It really is. He's got to get his attitude straight, and he's got to focus.
And what did you say? You were the one that was like, he just needs to change the scenery.
Absolutely. And I think this Vikings offense has the right pieces around him. I think he can
Look
work
at what
with
Brett Favre did with the Vikings offense.
Okay.
It was a little different.
You don't throw down a BF reference like that.
Brett Favre and Josh Freeman are essentially the same.
You just can't go dropping Madden bombs like
They're
this.
basically the same thing.
I mean, Brett Favre didn't have... He had
Josh Freeman's like 20% Brett Favre,
Yes.
and then like 82% Brett Favre. With a little bit of Colt McCoy mixed in.
Yeah, Brett Favre had a little bit of Percy Harvin and Sidney Rice to work with instead of just Greg Jennings and then Jerome Simpson. But
Hey,
Josh
you
Freeman,
can't forget your first-round pick.
Cordero.
Cordell Patterson. Where has he been?
He returned a touchdown.
Besides
off for a
that,
touchdown.
besides
Stop.
that,
He needs Josh Freeman
Besides
to come out.
that,
Yeah,
If
it is.
if
Josh
you're-
Freeman will unlock Cordell Patterson.
If you're going to wear the number 84, you got to put up 84 like numbers.
Put your jerseys on.
Yeah, put your 84 jerseys on. I'm back home.
I mean, there's no way that. I mean, I don't know. You can't
I got the
lose
Giants
to the
winning.
Giants right now.
Manny's going to throw
no,
2 picks, and they're
Vikings-
still going
It
to
Vikings-
doesn't
win.
matter who you are.
Vikings
you can't
all the
lose to
way.
the Giants.
Nope.
The Giants
Skull
are
Vikings.
just bad.
Nope.
I'm
Even
going
with
with
as
the
much of a
Vikings on this.
disappointment
Four
David Wilson
picks
is.
and 6 sacks.
Every time I pick the
6 sacks
Vikings,
for
they
Jared
disappoint
Allen.
me.
Impulse.
Okay,
stat line.
okay. I was okay with 6 sacks, but all for Jared Allen, that seems impractical.
Okay, I'll give some to Robbins. I'll give some to the other
He's
players.
gonna break the record in sacks.
He's
going to
break Strahan's record by
This game.
himself.
I'm going against you guys. I got the Giants in this one. I think it's about time they win it.
Well, I can't. I'm gonna get angry if I keep talking Vikings
I know.
because I kind of
So
feel
let's
like
move
they
on to
might
the
lose.
possibly best game of the week.
I feel like this game. Okay, Andrew Luck, Peyton Manning. We had Jim Irsay come out this week, basically say that we should have won more Super Bowls. Yeah, it's great to have. He called it the Star Wars numbers with Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne, and Peyton Manning. But he said you would have liked to have more of these as he points to his Super Bowl ring. You have John Fox pissed off about it. Bill Polian pissed off about it. When people say this is going to be the game of the year, I think, will this be better than Broncos Cowboys?
And that game was electrifying. I don't think it will be. I think it's going to be kind of an emotional homecoming for Peyton, even though he's like completely like surgical approach.
Yeah.
He never gets emotional.
He will.
I think he will tonight. I think it'll get to him. But I still think that the Broncos will win this one.
Mark, I'm going to point at you because I'm going to expect you to remember what I said in the preseason. What is this game a foreshadowing of?
You think this is going to be the AFC championship?
Said it in the preseason. Said it way before the preseason. This is your AFC championship preview.
I don't agree with that one. I definitely think the Colts are going to be in the playoffs, but I just can see them being one and done again. But here's the thing. Andrew Luck just had a off night, essentially. That last performance, just forget about it.
I think it was a letdown. I mean, everybody was giving him garbage, and he beats Russell Wilson. And I was like, oh, they're legit. They just knocked out Seattle based on another Andrew Luck comeback. So, I mean, you got to give them some crap, but then they just go out and kind of, like you said, they just dropped the ball last week.
I mean, we got to remember that first game that Denver had kind of put it to the side a little bit. But 22 touchdown passes for Peyton Manning, 7 for Andrew Luck.
And just one pick.
That's huge. That's a huge difference right there. There's no reason why he doesn't go into the house he built.
Yeah, but how many weapons? I mean, just to defend Luck a little bit, how many weapons does Peyton
been
Manning
It
have
doesn't
to
matter.
work
One
with?
team wins. One
Yep.
team wins
No, I know.
because of the weapons they have.
I'm not saying
It is the
that the
greatest
Broncos
show on
won't
turf,
win.
part 2.
You think so?
Part 2.
You think so?
I think
Isaac-
Kurt Warner would say so.
Isaac Bruce, Torrey Holt, Kurt Warner? That
Eric Decker,
Marshall Falk?
Thomas,
Welker. You have Moreno in the backfield.
I mean, honestly, this is probably the most high-powered offense
with John
since,
Fox at the helm.
Yeah, since we saw that great show on turf.
I feel like this game, like the Colts they're talking about, and Jim Irsay has said it all this week, where we're trying to build a team around young players, around young
They're doing
Andrew.
a good job.
But I sit there and I go, yeah, you got Trent Richardson. When's Trent Richardson going to be Trent Richardson?
Here's the thing with Jim Irsay. I don't understand why he's constantly defending himself, right? Like, he feels like he needs to defend not going for not keeping Peyton Manning.
You know what's the first thing I thought of when he made those comments about, yeah, you would have liked to have more Super Bowl rings?
Peyton Manning won a Super Bowl in Indianapolis.
Only one.
Wait. Hear me out. Hear me out here. Hear me out.
There's so many teams waiting to win one.
Wait. Listen to this.
Wait.
That one that you won, maybe that's just in not winning more. Maybe that's karma's way of kicking you in the ass for having your father move the team from Baltimore.
No.
Like he did.
I mean, yeah, that sucks.
Like he did. Middle of the night, pack up the trailer, we're going to Indy.
If there ever were such a thing as karma, it would be that. But I think the fact that Peyton Manning's going to probably go down as the best regular season quarterback ever, and that's kind of like an asterisk.
One step above Dan Marino?
It's like an asterisk. Absolutely.
One step?
Peyton
I'm
Manning?
saying one step because, yeah, he has one Super Bowl, but without that Super Bowl, people would be comparing him to Marino.
Peyton Manning is a much better quarterback than Dan Marino. I'll say it. I'll give him Marino. Yeah, he had the mobility. He had a great personality too. I think Manning's kind of opened up. He used to be that staunch guy, no personality. He picked that up, but offensively, he is just a genius at quarterback, and he is the best regular season quarterback there ever was.
Plus, you guys should know a lot about that one Super Bowl win for Peyton.
Yeah.
Because of who he won it over.
It has taken me a long time to forgive Peyton Manning, and I really still haven't. It's just the fact that he's on John Elway's team that makes it okay for me.
I think we got what we wanted out of that Super Bowl, though.
We got
opening
rid of Rex
kickoff.
Grossman.
Well, I was going to say opening kickoff. We all got to see what we wanted, which was Devin Hester taking it to the house.
Yeah.
After that, I really didn't give a shit.
The last one before they never kicked to him again.
Wah.
Pretty much. But I mean, I don't know. I don't get the whole Jim Irsay's comments because it's stupid. Why anyone thinks that Peyton Manning would just be the Denver Broncos Peyton Manning on the Indianapolis Colts because they're not the same team.
Yeah.
It's stupid. It's just a talking point that people want to use.
Skip Bayless-esque.
The Broncos are going to win this game. It's going to happen because when guys, especially quarterbacks, go to their old team and they're actually good.
They play up.
They play up. Exactly. They want
LeBron
to dominate.
versus Cleveland. That's what I think about.
And they get it done.
Brett Favre.
Brett Favre versus the Packers.
Just absolutely slapping the Packers across the face.
It's did Randy Moss ever play the Vikings after he left? I can't remember if the Patriots or the Raiders ever played the Vikings.
I don't know if Randy Moss was actually playing on the Raiders. If they did, even if they did, yeah, I'm just tossing.
But I just the Vikings actually did after what was it? The Patriots traded him to the Vikings.
That did
then
happen.
he did play against the Patriots, so kind of like that. But he didn't have a big a night as we thought before we traded him again. But I mean, I don't know. I'd like to see a big performance out of Luck. But Dave, maybe to segue this into the fantasy talk that you want to do. I'm only saying that because he's on my fantasy team, Luck Dynasty.
Yeah, no, I've got Manning rolling all over him. I think it'll be a pretty sweet homecoming for him.
Yeah, I got the Broncos winning it, but I hope Luck puts up some huge fantasy points.
Maybe.
That 20.
You got better luck of Luck putting up points than Richardson.
You know that 20 I was promised last week and that 19 I'm promised this week?
Expect a 12
Those
spot.
are no promises. There's no such thing as promises.
I see
in
those as
fantasy football.
promises.
No, that's a 12 spot.
Just like my Alshon Jeffrey promise of 8. Let's see if he
if
gets
T.Y.
over
Hilton
3.
gave me fantasy points as expectations every week, I'd be like diving in first place, no problem.
But Dave, you
hit or miss.
end the show. You wanted to talk fantasy. I'm gonna let you take this over.
I did. A couple key things. One, screw you, David Wilson. You wasted my high draft pick, and you're killing me.
You had a question though. Did you have it for the
Oh.
listeners or for us?
I had a quick thought. I was just looking forward, maybe towards playoffs.
Because I got your team up here because we're in the same league.
Solid. Not what I was looking for.
Oh, okay.
But that's okay. I was thinking, looking towards playoffs. Surprise pickup of somebody for the second half of the season, and I'm looking at one team.
What
San
team?
Francisco 49ers. They got 2 wide receivers who are injured right now. Both will be back in the next 4 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you pick?
From the Niners or just
Yep.
overall?
Well, I'm thinking the Niners because
Well,
they've got Crabtree and
maybe-
Manningham coming off injuries.
Maybe
and they're a
not
team who could use.
because you said with fantasy playoffs, look, that's looking
I'm saying like
far
4
down
weeks
the
down the
line?
road is when you'll see these guys putting up numbers.
maybe Kyle Williams. Maybe if we're talking
No, wow,
San Francisco.
Manningham or Crabtree coming off the injuries.
Oh, coming off of it?
Yeah,
I
that's what I'm
you
saying.
gotta
with
take
history.
Crabtree.
Yeah, go with
Take
history.
Crabtree.
You gotta take Crabtree because I mean Manningham. Isn't this technically his first season
It
in
would
San
be,
Fran?
yes.
The one guy I'm looking at, I actually picked him up for this week, and I'm starting him in one of my leagues, and that's, I think it's Randall of the Dallas Cowboys. Rookie, Oklahoma State. DeMarco Murray is injured. He's going to have the bulk of the carries. Looked good with 11 last week on Sunday Night Football. There's no reason why he shouldn't have a huge performance. Also, a guy I picked up in our league, Keenan Allen. 115 yards against Oakland, 17 fantasy points with a touchdown. Against Indy, 9 catches, 107 yards, a touchdown. That's 16 fantasy points for you.
We were kind of joking about this earlier, but I picked up Josh Freeman in 2 leagues because
it's a good pickup.
It's great upside. There's so much upside for a guy who's basically going to be a backup quarterback for me.
I got a quick fire question for you. Dave, you have the guy that hasn't been performing well with the Giants.
David Wilson.
If he was on, because I have him in our league,
Yep.
if he was on the waiver wire, do you take a stab at Brandon Jacobs after his 22 performance points against the Bears?
It's hard to say. Brandon Jacobs, if you can get him on the waiver, yeah, take him because there's a shot David Wilson just isn't going to return.
I say no on that one because the Bears' defensive line sucks. It's injured. It's not good. It can't get pressure on the pass.
Yeah, but Brandon
or the,
Jacobs looked like the
Yeah,
Brandon
you've
Jacobs
got
of
Jacobs
old.
and
because it's his first game back. Of course, he's excited. He wants to.
No, it wasn't
but
his
behind
first
him,
game.
Wilson's
Well, it's
got
his
neck
first
injury.
He's
game.
been
That's
since
him.
week 2.
It's his first game since
Yeah.
it's all him.
Yeah,
He's
and
going
Wilson's
out
got
there.
neck injury. Those can take, he's expected 3 to 4 weeks, but I'm seeing him being gone for a chunk of the season.
They're going to play teams that have better defensive lines than the Bears' injured, falling apart line.
Still. The other, I'm apparently just big on wide receivers with tons of upside for the second half of the season. Percy Harvin
Harvin.
practiced yesterday. Pretty big deal.
'Cause
Pretty
you
big deal,
picked him
guys.
up.
The
Hopefully
only,
he doesn't get any migraines, though.
oh, man. You dropped that one.
I did the same. After you said you picked up Percy Harvin, there's one league I'm in where I have an IR spot that I wasn't using. Picked him up, put him on the IR. I'm stashing him.
Yeah, he's an absolutely great stash at this point.
Do you think how much do you think he's going to do when he comes back?
If you're in a PPR league, I think it'll be pretty good.
Non-PPR leagues? That's all
Non-PPR
I'm
is a
in.
question because
Is he going to get
Wilson
touchdowns?
spreads the ball around a lot.
Yeah, I hear that. And then I pick up Doug Baldwin when I need a wide receiver, and then Russell Wilson just says, I don't know who Doug Baldwin
Just
is.
gonna throw a Golden Tate all day.
Yep.
Yeah,
Pisses me off.
It's hard to get
It
judged.
really
I
irks
think
me.
I'm kind of curious to see the second half of the season when he comes back. I think that Russell Wilson has an absolutely great chance of hooking up with Percy Harvin as a go-to guy because he's a safety blanket.
And the one thing, I don't mean to backtrack a little bit because I had
That's
to
fine.
pull it up. You were talking about David Wilson.
Yeah.
Did either of you hear the Twitter conversation that him and Ruben Randall had this week?
Did not.
That was funny.
Let me read you some of
Enlighten
this.
me.
It started off with Ruben Randall retweeting a David Wilson tweet that said, make sure y'all ride around and get it, #all day. Ruben Randall said, hell up. That's where it started. David Wilson, hey Randall, you suck. You're on the bench of my fantasy team. What does Ruben Randall come back with? Retweets it with a picture of a meme that says, man, sit your ass down. David Wilson comes back, get off Twitter and get in your playbook, you bum. Randall comes back. You go get in yours. Oh wait, you might fumble it.
Damn.
David Wilson comes back with, drop another pass, and I'm dropping you from my fantasy team. Hashtag Butterfingers. Randall comes back, fumble another ball. I'm going to put you at the end of my bench like Coughlin did. And then he says, he in quotes, Wilson takes the kickoff. He has room on the sideline. Crowd cheers. He cuts back. Fumble. Randall again. Ain't nothing wrong with your neck. B. Jacobs just punked you out your spot. And then David Wilson comes back with, on a serious note, Ruben Randall and the Giants love the game and winning. We make mistakes, but no, we always play hard for the team and fans. After Randall just said B. Jacobs punked you for your spot.
I'm sorry. That last one kind of sounds like you gave up. Or maybe somebody from PR noticed what the shit was going on Twitter, and you're making yourselves look like assholes.
Oh,
because they're both young guys.
It's hilarious.
And it is entertaining, but this is a winless team, and they suck.
I know.
And they're gonna beat your Vikings.
You can't trash talk when you're 0-6.
Yeah. Like that front
Not
flip.
a lot.
No more front flips in the end zone.
Trash talking each other.
Yeah. I'm sorry. It's immature. I love it. I actually love it. It's entertaining.
Okay, which one was the best tweet? The I'm going to put you at the end of my bench like
Coughlin did.
Or the B. Jacobs punked you out your
I like
spot?
the Coughlin comment.
Yeah, Coughlin's good. But I mean, anytime you mention the fumble, that's great. Anytime you mention David Wilson.
Hashtag Butterfingers.
Get in your playbook. Oh, wait, you might fumble it.
Yeah.
But fantasy-wise, I hope my team does well. Dave, yours is usually an injury-rocking team.
I am the injured reserve. Been semi-healthy. I like to play the upside of players. Like I picked up Le'Veon Bell. Obviously, he had that huge week. I grabbed Blackman coming off of his first game, and it was like, oh, hey, guess what? You know, we've got a quarterback who likes to throw me the ball. 19 points, 2 weeks in a row. What up? And I expect that to continue because he has absolutely his body is just giant. Like I actually saw him versus like a DB just standing up, just chilling. It's like, dude's a monster. I can't forget about it.
Last thing to end out fantasy, we'll start with Mark. I'm going to put you on the spot. Give me one player that you think is going to have a big week this week in fantasy.
Adrian Peterson. He's got to come back. I mean, he didn't get it done.
Is this just because he's on your team?
Well, I mean, that's part of it.
People on our teams.
But I mean,
okay.
no, to be fair, though, I mean, everyone thought he was going to have this huge game before. And it obviously, the death of his son obviously affected him more than people thought.
Don't worry, Mark. My guy's on my team, too.
Now
Same
he's
here.
coming back. Now he's going to come back and he's going to dominate with
really?
maybe 30 points.
Maybe 30. All right, so I got a split decision, guys. Settle this for me. I got the last walking wide receiver in Green Bay, Jordy Nelson, or Gronkalicious.
Gronkalicious.
Gronk.
You play Gronkalicious all day, every day.
Gronk.
Oh, no, they're both playing. Don't get me wrong.
Oh,
I'm just
okay.
saying, who is going to have the bigger week?
Gronk.
I think Gronk.
It's Gronk's homecoming.
You
in
know,
New
like
York.
16 catches, 180 yards,
Two touchdowns at least.
Yeah.
Kimbrel Tompkins, who?
Yeah.
Where's the beef? Oh, wait, Gronk ate the beef.
Can anyone
That's
else
gonna
catch the
happen.
ball?
Yeah, no. The answer is no.
But with me, there's two guys, both from my team, that I expect big weeks from. Even though he will lose, Andrew Luck, and
Nope,
two,
12
Alshon
points.
Jeffrey.
I think
He's
Jeffrey has
got to
better
have
upside.
a better week than he had last week.
Better upside for Jeffrey, but I think Luck's going to be like 12 points maybe.
You shut your whore mouth.
Nope, it's going to happen.
You shut your whore mouth. That's going to do it for the onside kick.
That's how you're ending it.
Yeah.
Shut your whore mouth. See you later, onside kick.
That's how we're doing it as always. Leave a comment down below. Tell us what you think about if we made you laugh. I've been hearing a lot that we make people laugh on the podcast,
Good.
which I love to hear.
I hope you enjoy it.
But tell us what you think about the sports we bring to you each and every week. Leave the comments down below. Hit the subscribe button. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/theonsidekick, as well as follow us on Twitter @OnsideKickReal. And as always, have a good day, everybody.